All right, welcome to the Non-Stuffy Attorneys podcast. Today, I am with Trish Butcher from Arch Legacy Firm up in Georgia. Welcome.
Hey Joe, how are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. I'm doing amazing. Yeah, you and I, you recently signed up as a client of ours for marketing services, and I during the initial call, I was super impressed with you and your practice and just kind of everything that you have going on. So I was like, I need to get her on the podcast right away for
Well,
sure.
thanks.
Yeah.
It's been a journey, that's for sure.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about it. When did you guys start? How did that all happen? Like what's the history?
Yeah, so we're working on our Christmas cards right now. So I can tell you that we have almost exactly 750 clients that we've worked with since we started. And considering that I think when I was looking back at year one, we met with 10 clients. So we've come a really long way. So I started the firm. I decided to open the firm back in February of 2020. So that's when I filed for everything. So I don't know if that was good timing or bad timing, but it was right before COVID. But I will say dying was certainly on a lot of people's minds that year. So
Were
um,
you planning on doing probate at that time?
no,
Yeah.
I said
Yeah.
I wasn't going to touch probate with a 10-foot pole. But
Because we started our firm in May of 2020.
wow.
And yeah, and a couple years later is when we decided to get into probate because it's essentially recession proof, right? It's
Exactly. It is. It's AI proof. It's I joke that it's kind of my retirement plan because if everyone starts doing, online wills and trust documents, then there's going to be more probates than ever. So I said I wouldn't do probate, but also I found that there were no probate attorneys in my area that I could refer to.
Mm,
They all just really sucked. Dropped the ball, didn't return phone calls, took forever, made me look bad for referring my clients to them in the first place. So honestly, that's why I ended up starting probate, and we just do uncontested. But yeah, so originally it was all going to be estate planning, and really, I mean, the background is that my grandmother was a self-made, very successful woman, came from absolutely nothing, became a professor at UGA and started investing in real estate and was very successful at investing in real estate. And she only had one kid, my dad, but she got remarried to a local physician when my dad was probably right after he graduated from college. And he had two kids from a previous marriage. So it was a blended family situation, which, as we know, can be messy. But this one was messier than usual. My grandmother made a lot of promises, a lot of guarantees throughout her life. We all knew very much what she wanted her legacy to look like. And at the end of the day, it all failed.
ugh.
She had a will-based plan from an attorney down in Florida, and the will was changed post mental capacity. So instead of it all going directly to my dad, it went to my grandfather, step grandfather. And then when he passed away 6 years later, we really realized the full extent of how much everything had been changed. My dad was in probate court for 4 years and paid over $200,000 in probate attorney's fees, and then lost out on probably a little over $1 million above and beyond that of the estate. So it was just a nightmare. And she had a will. And so I'm, a lawyer who did not specialize in estate planning. My background is that I was the in-house counsel for the Medical Association of Georgia. So I represented 8,000 physicians. I was a lobbyist. I did a lot of regulatory work, wrote a lot of legislation. So I didn't know that much about estate planning. And I was like, well, how did that happen? She had a will. How did it fail? And so I got very interested in it, did a 6-month master course in estate planning. And then the true trick was that I convinced my sister to come on board with me, who is my senior paralegal. So So we started it, decided to start it in 2020, and then met with our first client in August of 2020. Um, and went from a team of 2 to a team of 11 and just plugging along. But yeah, and I tell that story all the time because it is what got me very interested in estate planning.
Yeah, yeah. My grandfather passed back in July, and he had a decent sized estate. I mean, about $10 million estate, and there's no contentiousness to it. But his attorney um, convinced him he didn't need a trust. Right? You absolutely don't need a trust. Like,
That's because probate's his retirement plan too.
well, he ended up passing away. He passed away. His son took over the practice, and his son's doing the probate right now. And uh, there's two siblings, my father and his sister. Right? Some of the grandchildren are getting some of the estate, but most of it's going to my father and his sister. But my father is we have a blended family, right? He remarried. She's got one kid. There's five of us with my father, and she got one kid, so it's a blended family. Anyway, he recently talked to the attorney who's doing the probate, and he was basically like, "Yeah, there's no need for you to do a trust. Absolutely none. You just need a will." And I had a I had a very colorful conversation with my father about this guy the other day. The guy seems like really sharp. He's like done well in the probate. There's a house that needs to be sold, and he's like really negotiating well. And then he gives this advice. It's kind of like it feels really shitty because it's just not in the best interest of the client.
No, it feels like the attorney's trying to have the probate on the back end, which is
Yep.
exactly what was happening for my grandmother. Look, it worked. It worked for his dad because the law firm has the probate.
Yep.
Um, what state does your dad live in?
New Jersey.
Oh yeah, no probate in New Jersey.
Yeah, the guy. So they
Florida
own
and Georgia are bad enough.
yeah, they own a property down here in Florida, and the attorney was like, "Yeah, set up a trust for the Florida probate, but you don't need to put your New Jersey assets into the trust." It's like, why would you?
Why?
Yeah, like, what are you talking about? You're going to set up a trust and then not put some of your assets into it? It's like,
I always tell my clients, I'm like, look, if your goal is to make it as easy as possible in the back end for your kids, you do a living trust if you own property. And they always kind of look at me and they're like, well, why wouldn't we do a living trust? Why don't everyone do a living trust? I'm like, because they get really bad advice from attorneys. That's
yeah,
why. They don't
yeah,
even know they exist.
right, yeah. It's upsetting, because I had to like we basically did like a reconsultation with my father and his wife over the weekend, and because this guy's smart. He's a good communicator. He comes off like he knows what he's talking about. And he probably does know what he's talking about, but it's in his best interest, not in theirs.
For sure.
Yeah,
But I mean, that's how a lot of attorneys operate, unfortunately. I mean, it's how a
unfortunately.
lot of people in general operate. Attorneys can't get all the bad rap, but yeah, um, I hear cases all the time where someone went and met with another attorney and then comes and meet with me, and they're either told that they don't need any trust, or they're told that they need every trust, and you're like, no, you don't need a Medicaid asset protection trust. Like, it's like, no, you don't need to pay $20,000 for an estate plan. So it's like one way or the other. They're trying to either get it up front or they're trying to get it on the back end with probate. But yeah, it's sleazy. It's
It
very
is sleazy.
underhanded, and it just really stinks because people are going we're telling people to go to attorneys. We're telling them not to trust AI, not to do trustandwills.com, no matter what Matthew Stafford tells them to do, and all of this other stuff. I'm a dog fan, so Matt, I have a problem with you right now. But but yeah, we're telling them to come to an attorney. So then they're going to meet with an attorney and they're putting their trust in their faith in the attorney that has their best interest at heart, when in reality, a lot of these attorneys, they either say they do estate planning, but really they're a PI attorney that does wills on the side, which the wills, you're better off probably doing LegalZoom. And then, or they're just very self motivated, and it's very frustrating because it's hard for, they're like, I just paid this attorney this much money and you're telling me it's the wrong thing. And I'm like, yeah,
Yep. Yep.
that's my least favorite conversation to have, is when the client comes in and I'm reviewing their documents and they're like not even that old and they're awful. And they're like, but I just paid $4,000 for this. And you're like, sorry.
Yeah. You would have been better off burning it. Yeah, it's shitty. It's shitty. That's one thing. You guys got a similar situation going on with your husband's kind of handling the administrative stuff. But so when we started the law firm, all of my attention was on lead generation, answering the phones, right, handling all the admin stuff that the marketing, everything to get everything off of my wife's lines that wasn't either consultation or legal work.
When
And
you joined, did y'all start it together? Have you been working with her since the very beginning?
for the most part, so I was working a sales job before I started a sales job probably in January of 2020. And then she got sworn in April of 2020. And the sales job was in office, but it was real close to our house. So I would come home during lunch, work on marketing stuff in the evening, working on marketing. But I wasn't there really during the day.
Yeah.
And she was billing by the hour because she was mostly doing business law at that time. She was in-house counsel out in California for a long time. And
Gotcha.
so she was billing by the hour, and I kept like, I was like, why'd you only bill 12 hours this week? Like, what's going on? Well, I'm doing this and this and this and this. And so I had added it all up, and I figured I could probably get her another like 15 hours of billables if I came and handled those things for her. And it made sense financially for me to leave that job and come do that. So I leave, and after like a month, she's still billing 12 hours. Like, what is going on here? And
She's a softie.
she's a softie. That's exactly right. And I was kind of getting at, she's got a lot of integrity. And that was one of the reasons that's been one of our, you know, successful actions, successful viewpoints, I guess you could say, with the growth of our firm is that she's got a lot of integrity. She will, even if it means that we're not going to get someone as a client, she will give them the legal advice that she feels is right. Um, regardless. And so that's been really good with, reviews and like word of mouth and that type of thing. But yeah, she's a softie. So she'd do some research for an hour and be like, not bill for it.
Yeah.
And she couldn't do it. Finally, I remember I kept telling her, you need to do flat fees. You need to do flat fees. And she's like, I just couldn't get her. And then I was scrolling Facebook, and Brita Long, have you ever heard of Brita? No.
I
No,
don't think I have.
she's a family law attorney. She wrote the book, The Happier Attorney, which is
Okay.
essentially how to,
I think I've heard of the book. Yeah.
yeah, fantastic book. How to implement flat fees, right? Especially in family law, it's really hourly driven. And I read it in a weekend, and we had a meeting with her, and it convinced Ashley to convert to flat fees. And like the very next day, she had a consultation with somebody. It was a contract that she needed to draft. It was really important to these people. It was for like a 13-15 million dollar deal that they had going on. And she got off the phone. She comes to me. She's like, I don't know how much to charge. How much for a flat fee, right? And she was charging like 375 an hour. And so how long is it going to take you? She knew this like really, really well. She's like 2 hours tops to do it. I know.
No, value driven.
I know. I was like, we're going to get like less than $800 on this thing. So I said, go tell them it's 7,500. And she went and told it, and they paid immediately. We could have told them it was 20,000 and they would have paid for it. But she knew that area because she had so much experience with it. So,
Mhm.
the hourly billing really rewards either people's incompetency or um, unscrupulous
Right.
behavior.
Right. Yeah.
You know, yeah. Have you ever billed hourly?
So I honestly, very briefly. So because my background is also as in-house counsel, I did not come from a firm background. Um, but when I worked in Atlanta and then could not stand the traffic anymore, so I moved back to my hometown, which is Athens, Georgia. Go Dogs! And and so when I moved back to Athens, I was working as of counsel for a small firm out of Augusta, Georgia, where the Medical College of Georgia is. And he hourly billed. They did like retainer and then extra hourly, and it was awful. The clients don't want to talk to you, like they're afraid they're going to get billed for it. And it's just such a pain in the rear end as an attorney to sit there and track it. Um, and so I knew 100% that when I started my firm, I wanted to be flat fee. So I'm sure you've heard of it, but have you heard of New Law Business Model?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, NLBM. So that's how I originally trained, and I think that's how the algorithm even tagged me, is because I was Googling flat fee law firm, no hourly billing, and that's their big motto is flat fee, no hourly billing. And mine, I actually, when I first started, it was also to do business law, but for healthcare practitioners, because that was my background, right? I knew the health code like the back of my hand. Um, and then I realized that I hated doing that. I don't like doing employment contracts and, all of that stuff and operating agreements. It's just not what I really enjoy doing. And NLBM does business law and estate planning. And so as I got more and more into the estate planning, I realized that that's actually even more what, yes, that's what grabbed my attention at the beginning anyhow, because of my grandmother's story. But then even in practice, thinking that I would do both, it became more and more um, estate planning. And so I actually rebranded very quickly. So when I first got started, because I thought I was going to be doing more of the business law side, it was Butcher Health Law. And then when I realized that I wanted to pretty much focus completely on estate planning, and Butcher does not give the warm, fuzzy feelings. So we went with Arch Legacy Firm, which for Georgia fans, it's the UGA Arch, which is UGA's big emblem. It's downtown Athens. But for people that aren't from Athens or don't care about UGA, it's still just, it's not, it wouldn't like raise any eyebrows. So it
Yeah.
was a way for me to allude to Athens and Georgia without being like over the top classic city law firm or anything like that, which is what a lot of companies around here are named, just Classic City. So, so I rebranded, and yeah, and flat fees. So, I mean, it's great. And it's really making sure that you're getting paid for the value of what you're providing
Yep.
versus just necessarily running the SKU and figuring out exactly how much it costs. I mean, if you run the SKU on like a regular trust plan, because my sister is so amazing at drafting and we use wealth counsel and we have our scenarios and everything, like, yes, some plans obviously are outliers and take longer if they're more, have lots more customizations. But for the most part, I mean, if you run the SKUs, we're running at like a 95% profit margin because
Yep.
they don't really cost that much money. It's more the value add that you're giving by saving them probate and months and months of court and court fees and conflict and just giving them that peace of mind. So it is a mindset shift for a lot of attorneys coming out of that hourly billing. Um, but also our fees are a little bit bigger because we provide a lifetime relationship as well. So all of our clients can continue to email us and call us. We're never going to hourly bill them. And then at the end, their family gets an automatic meeting with us where we basically set them up for success. So
Oh.
So that's all included. So I tell people, I'm like, yes, our fees are a little bit higher, but you're not just getting documents. Like you're
Right.
getting a relationship with my firm so that if you have questions, you can turn to us and we'll be there. Um, there aren't any other firms in my area that will do that. So
No. Nice.
yeah, so I have pretty much the monopoly on that in this area. I mean, there are in Atlanta, but I'm not really advertising to Atlanta. I get Atlanta clients from like referrals, but for the most part, Athens is about an hour and 15 minutes away from Atlanta, and I kind of circle Atlanta with my marketing towards the like on the east side of Atlanta. So
Geographically, is Athens? Where is Athens compared to Atlanta?
it is east, slightly north.
Are you
So
in the
northeast
are
of
you,
Atlanta.
are you in the mountains or no?
We're not. So oftentimes people say that Athens is like the gateway to North Georgia.
Okay.
So we're not in the mountains. We're in like the rolling hills. We have it's like very hilly in Athens. But literally within an hour, I could be, if you drive north for 45 minutes, you're going to see them in the distance. So
Yeah. Yeah. Is it, I guess it's pretty. Sounds pretty.
it is. North Georgia's gorgeous. I grew up going to Lake Burton, which is a lake that's literally in the mountains. Took about an hour and a half to get there from Athens, and I mean it's one of the most stunning lakes. And Nick Saban ruined it. He got a house there, so now everybody found out about Lake Burton, and so it's all like $3-4 million houses now instead of like the cabins that were there when I was growing up.
It's called Lake Burton.
Yeah,
BUR.
Burton. Um, It's gorgeous. It's mountain water. It never gets hot. The water never even really gets warm, even in the heat of the summer. And it's just mountain views all around. It's stunning.
Yeah. I've been I've been wanting to go up there. We went up to upstate New York this past summer to a
I've
lake
heard that's
there.
really pretty.
Yeah, in the Adirondacks. It was beautiful, but Georgia's closer to us, and
A little bit closer. Yeah. So a lot of people, our most famous lake in Georgia is Lake Oconee, which is where I'm actually opening an office in January. And so a lot of Atlantaese retire to Lake Oconee. Lake Oconee really got put on the map when Carrie Underwood got married at Lake Oconee, and so people are like, "Oh, but that being said, it has beautiful, huge houses. They're all mansions. They're huge, but it's actually not the prettiest lake. It's kind of shallow. It's got that Georgia red clay. It's not. They've made it Atlanta's playground, but I don't really know why. So Lake Burton it's Lake Burton, Lake Seed, and Lake Raven are all connected, and those are like the mountain lakes that are really deep water, really pretty. And then below Lake Oconee is Lake Sinclair. So we have several lakes in Georgia, but
so
Lake
if you're going to
Oconee
be
being the most well known, Lake Burton being the most expensive.
Lake Burton is the most expensive
Oh, for
to like
sure.
to vacation at.
No, maybe I don't know, but just to buy property on, you're
Buy
not going to
property.
buy a house for less than 2 million now. But even then, 2 million is going to get you in like a cove somewhere with no view, no like real views.
Yeah.
Just to give you an idea, I said my grandmother was a real estate investor. My grandmother was one of the first people to buy property on Lake Burton when Georgia Power flooded it, and so I think she bought it for, I think all in, she was maybe all in at 45,000. This is back when my dad was still like, I think in high school. And when she sold it, unfortunately for me, she sold it right as I was graduating high school in '06. So before the crash, she sold it for 2.4. Then the crash happened. But now in 2025, my grandmother's property, the entire lake unfolded in front of it. So people would come sit on our dock to paint the view. And so now it probably, just the property alone would probably be worth around 4 million.
Wow. Yeah, my grandfather bought their second house in New Jersey, in Ocean City, on the water. Right. It's across the street from the beach, but there's no houses on the beach there. Right. And I early 70s bought it for 95,000, and we just put it on the market for 6.9.
It's just not fair, Joe. Like we don't have these opportunities that they had back then. It's like
Well, we do. We do. It's just okay, you buy a house now for 500 and then 30 years from now we're going to be like, "Oh my god."
it's true. Inflation
Right?
sucks.
Did she do anything with multifamily units?
She did not. She developed neighborhoods. In Athens, there's an area called Five Points, which is one of the wealthiest areas of Athens. And she bought this huge, big, beautiful white house that had lots of land and developed that into a neighborhood. Took that money, invested it in land in Oconee County, which is the neighboring county, and developed Tanglebrook. And Oconee County is now so Clark County is where Athens is. We have like the worst schools. Oconee has the best schools in Georgia. So like everybody wants to live in Oconee, and so prices are definitely. So yeah, I mean, just developing, and then she had some office buildings. She did have some
Okay.
office buildings, but honestly, those were not the best investments. So
No. Yeah, I'm a big proponent of multifamily units. So right now we're like long term our goal is to own lots of like apartment
yeah,
complexes.
that
Yeah.
was that was Andy's goal. My husband, at one point, we bought this office building that we're in now. And so that's kind of our only real estate invest. Well, and then we bought into a condo in Amelia Island with my mom. So we have those two properties, but and then we flipped a few houses along the way up, but we stepped away from that. I don't know. I don't want to deal with tenants is the problem. They're you know
You don't yeah, so
I
you don't
know
deal
you
with
have property management companies that deal
yes.
with it, but
But look, okay, here's the deal with it. It's fucking genius. All right. And this is really how to build wealth. You you find an apartment complex, maybe 30 units. Someone's owned it for a while, and the rent is below market value. Okay, let's say hypothetically, let's say the rent is 1,000 a month, but it could be 2,000. Okay, the value of the property because it's a multifamily is based off of the income that it produces, right, from the tenants. Not it's not the value like a regular residential. So you buy it, let's say, you buy it for, let's say you buy it for 1 million, just for math sake, right?
yep,
Um, you put 30% down. Well, day one, you raise the rents up to what market value is, right?
you're a douche.
No, no. Or you would be a douche in that situation, of course, right? But this is just for simplicity's sake.
I know.
For simplicity's sake, because this can be done on a gradual process, or you do some renovations and whatever. But for simplicity's sake, you raise the rents up to now 2,000. The bank then views that property as the value has now increased by 100%. So you then refinance, take all the cash out of it, pay yourself back the down payment, use the rest of the cash to buy another one.
Yeah.
All the while, the tenants are, you're cash flowing from these tenants, and you're writing off all the depreciation.
Did you follow who's the real estate investor that was really big on Instagram? Invest for more. Hold on, because that's I mean that's literally what he. Um, Mark
I follow.
Ferguson is his name. So he was really big investor, but um, he actually dropped dead of a heart attack.
Oh,
Very young, like our age.
wow.
Um, and like maybe a year ago at the most. And that's why you need an estate plan, people. Because I mean,
You're in Georgia, you know where to call.
good lord. But yeah, that's the way. I mean, that's what he did. 100%. That was what
Yeah.
he
Yeah, Grant
really.
Cardone. Grant Cardone is
Of course, yeah,
yeah, is kind of where I learned all that. But it's just, and then as time goes on, because rent increases as time goes on, right? That's just what happens. Real estate goes up, rents go up, and so your property is consistently.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's that's our
We're playing the Arch Legacy's rent just keeps going up. So that
do you,
we met with our CPA and we were like, oh crap. No matter how ahead of the game you think you are, but yeah,
do
I
you
mean
have
we doubled profit revenue from last year to this year, so it was a little bit more of growth rate than we were conservatively estimating. So
yeah,
um,
so you got the tax call from your
oh
CPA.
yeah, you're looking at a $50,000 additional tax bill over what you've already paid, and you're like, mofo.
I know.
So
I
we've
got
been doing some
we
strategery.
we were it was the day before Thanksgiving last year. We were on our way to Puerto Rico, and I was packing. It was like 9 o'clock at night. Our CPA called me up, and she's like, "Now we grew 88% last year." She goes, "We got a problem." She's like, "It's a good problem, but we got a problem." And she told me how much we were gonna have to pay in taxes, and I said, the hell we are. What do we need to do?" She's like, "Okay, well, first of all, this trip you're taking right now, this is a business trip, right?"
Write it off.
I was like, "Sure is." And then yeah, then we had to spend a lot of money. Ended up buying two work vehicles and two very
Yeah,
expensive work vehicles.
we're buying a work vehicle for our events coordinator for events because her car's not really big enough, and we've been using my car, which is owned by the company, and
She's
so
been
we're
using
buying that.
she's been using your car.
Yeah,
I was doing that. Oh my god,
I
I
know.
was doing that with someone. I
Yeah,
had a guy going around to long-term care facilities, and he was using my car. Now I bought a Range Rover, like a you know top of the line. Was like, okay, I need to spend all this money, and then I was like needing to like leave the office for random things, but he's out. It was like it was a
yeah,
nightmare.
and she also picks up my son from school a good bit. My son's 6, and her daughter, they're in the same class, and I'm like, but her car can't fit his car seat, and I'm like,
Mm.
okay, like we're gonna get a company car for you, and it's gonna be over 6,000 pounds so that we can write it off all in one year.
What are
But
you
then
getting?
because we own the building under a separate LLC, we have Arch Legacy and Arch Investments, and Arch Legacy pays rent to Arch Investments. Um, Arch Investments is getting all new windows this year, and then the IRS can prove
Yep, yep, that's right. That's right. What kind of car are you getting?
that it wasn't for the office. So just strategies like that. And then I'm gonna bonus. I'm gonna give some pretty large bonuses at the end of the year on top of the quarterly bonuses that we give, just as appreciation to my because I mean I have an amazing team. So very similar to you, I love your branding, the non-stuffy attorneys. What we've always branded as is we're a team of moms. So it's
Yeah,
basically kind of that same feeling of much more warm, personal, fuzzy feelings. And so my husband does work with me, but he's not client facing for Arch Legacy. So he's client facing for his own company, Arch Strategies, which is for business owners. But then within Arch Legacy, it's all moms. It just that was kind of our way to like differentiate ourselves from, no offense, but the middle-aged men in suits in high-rise office spaces in downtown midtown Atlanta or downtown Athens, and because I'm nothing like them, they don't like me. I'm stealing all of their attorneys. That's what I'm doing instead. So one by one, I'm stealing all of their associates and giving them a much better job with a lot more flexibility. It's a
yeah,
pretty easy sell when I'm like, well, we're all moms and we close for school holidays outside of summer, and we have flexibility. And if your kid needs you to go pick them up, you can go pick your kid up and not get bitched at about it. So it's amazing how much that goes a really long way for women.
it do- it does. It really does. Yeah, we've got. I think there's three males that are on staff here. Myself as one of them in the law firm. Yeah, everyone else is female. For a while, it was just me, and that was That was
You are
intense.
fine. Andy loves it. He basically just gets poked and prodded by 10 women instead of one. It's great, Joe.
You're right. You're right. Um,
He
so
gets
what is,
he gets asked this a lot. Would do you feel at all emasculated that you work with your wife, or as I like to tell him, for his wife, because non-attorneys can't own a law firm. Does
no,
that
I
does that
know.
make you at all insecure, Joe, about your?
I feel very little, very, very emasculated. No. No, it is annoying though, you know. Yeah. It is annoying that non-attorney, well, in our state, some states allow it now.
Not many still. I think it's only still
No.
like two. I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, my husband's like, I'm just going to go back to law school. And I'm like, what a waste of time and money. You're not going back to law school. I was like, the laws will change. Eventually we'll get over that. But also for him, I think it's for like the business planning that he wants to do. I feel like he thinks having the JD or the Esquire behind his name gives him. And I'm like, no, you're good. He's an aerospace engineer from Georgia Tech. It's like, sweetie, I think everyone can tell that you're very smart.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
I've got
wish I wish Andy had come on board sooner like you did. I think that if he had, we'd be even farther along. But because we have a young child, and because we're, scaredy cats, he didn't actually start with the firm. He didn't quit corporate America until last July. So he just came on last year. He was in aerospace engineering, outside sales. By that point, I call my husband. He's a closet nerd. He's a charismatic nerd. So you wouldn't know he was an engineer unless you asked him an aerospace question, and then you will absolutely know he's an engineer. But he comes off as, so they kept putting him in sales, and he's like, well, I don't want to do sales. He's like, I wanted to build things, and I'm like, great, come help me build my business. So, but I love that you came on board and were supporting Ashley so early on, because I feel like that would have definitely accelerated us, because I love the business side of things. I don't love being the attorney. So I like being the business, but for a while there, I could only be the attorney because I was in
yeah.
35 meetings, 35 new clients every month, and still in signing meetings. So until I could really hire more attorneys and take that off my plate, I needed someone else to help me with all of the other stuff. And
Yeah.
now I'm slowly taking it back. I'm like, no, give me the marketing back. I want to do it again.
Yeah, I think for me leaving where I was, because I was making decent money. It was a relatively new sales job, but we had just moved to Florida. Um, but being a salesperson for me added it made me leaving that job, not, it was like whatever, right? Like, okay, I was making good money, but as a salesperson, you are extremely valuable, right? If you can sell and you're good at it, you are extremely valuable to businesses. Um, and that's why salespeople get paid so well. Most people don't want to do sales; they don't like it,
Like my
and
husband.
yeah, yeah, they don't like it. But I think a lot of it comes down, and this. My wife didn't want to do sales, right? She didn't sign up to be a salesperson, and we actually had it out one day, because I'm like coaching her on sales, right? I'm
Right.
like,
Oh, Andy did the same for me.
yeah, I'm like listening to her, and I was like, she'd say something, I'd be like, why did you say that? Or the person's basically trying to pay, and she's like, okay, well, send me an email, and I was like, what?
No, no, you closed the sale.
Yeah, you close the sale. But yeah, I had one day I was like trying to coach her, and she's like, I didn't sign up for this. I signed up to be an attorney. I was like, look, then we should just pack it up and you should go work for a law firm then. If you just want to do legal work, let's just stop this right now, and you go work for a firm, because if you're going to own a business, you have to be good at sales. Um,
You
and
have
that kind
someone
of,
who wants to get into your office.
you see him, he's looking at me.
That was really cute. Hey, buddy.
I'll let him in.
He's like, "Thanks, Dad. Appreciate it."
Yeah, he's got his bed right there. I'm like locking him out. He's sitting on the hard floor. Poor guy.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. The other one's sitting out there. He doesn't care. Um, but yeah, I was when I left that job, it sales is really stabilizing because you can, if you're good at sales, you can get a job. You can always get a job, and you can usually get a high paying one too. Um, but that was the value that I really brought to the firm here was, the sales mentality and like the processes of sales. And I've noticed since meeting with attorneys over the last few years that it is really rare to have that for a law firm to have that implemented. Um,
For sure.
yeah,
Most, and I mean, I have to remind myself of this because I've hired some amazing attorneys, amazing, honestly, better attorneys than me, which is what I wanted. Um, I did the Colby A assessment, and I shared it with one of my mentors, and he was like, "You are not a typical attorney," and I'm like, "Damn right, I'm not a typical attorney. My fact finder was so low." Have you ever done a Colby A? Do you know what that is?
no,
Uh,
I've heard of it. Yeah, but I've never done one.
So like it's not a personality test. It's a how do you think and work test. And so like my Colby A, most attorneys, this red one is like an 8 and mine's like a 5. And I'm like, honestly, I think the only reason mine's a 5 is because I went to law school. Otherwise, I think it'd probably be like a 3. And then my quick start, which is like the implementer, like the innovator, getting it like that's an 8. So for me, that's what's my really strong suit, but that's very unusual. And so I do feel like a lot of attorneys get trapped in that trap of being really good attorneys, but not very innovative or good at the business side. Versus with me, honestly, I'm like, I don't want to be an attorney. I just want to own the business. Like, I just want to run the business now. And sometimes I still have to be an attorney. We had a difficult client. And so I actually kicked my other attorney off of the case and just took it over because she was getting really stressed out about it because we overthink things as attorneys. But and I'm like, God, like, what's gonna stop like my lead attorney from like going off and doing her own thing? And I mean, nothing for sure, but she's like, I do not want to do what you do. I don't
Mhm.
like. She sees what all goes into this, and she's like, I don't want to do that. She's like, I just want to be an attorney. And I think some attorneys need to recognize, or they have spouses, or for me originally it was my sister, because I mean I couldn't have done this without my sister. So like for Ashley it was you, for me it was my sister originally. You find the people that can compliment you in whatever way you need complimenting. For me, my sister was honestly more of the attorney personality. She's the type A, she's the super detail oriented, she's the one that research trusts in, out, and just knows them so much better than any of us. And just without her, I mean, we wouldn't be nearly as successful. So you have to find, if you still want to go out on your own, you have to find that person that compliments you in whichever way you need the compliment.
Yeah,
um,
yeah, it's almost a necessity, to have someone who's almost of equal rank to you, right? Like you had your sister, like my wife and I, we were like equal rank, and what as you're bringing this up, it's making me think about a lot of the solo attorneys I speak with, and they'll hire an assistant or or a paralegal, but they don't really give them the responsibilities that's kind of needed, right? Like, okay, I took over these aspects of the business, and these things were my responsibility. Okay, Ashley's, it was the legal work, the consultations, right? The consultations to start, but um, and it was like we each were kind of like on equal playing field, right? Right. No one was like senior. We weren't senior to
yeah.
each other. Um, and now I'm like thinking about some of these attorneys who are solo and have one assistant that's over in the Philippines,
Yeah,
right?
that would
It's
be
like,
so hard. I can't imagine.
yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of them they do have more trouble getting off the ground and past that 250,000 revenue, 400,000 revenue threshold because they don't. I mean, Stephanie and I, yes, technically I'm her boss because I'm the lawyer, but we've never considered it that way. We're partners. She has her lane, I have my lane. I do not ever micromanage her or tell her what to do. Like I said, she's better at a lot of that than me anyhow. And it was so crucial to our success. I could not
Yeah.
have done it all on my own. And though Andy wasn't working with me technically, he was always my sounding board. So we'd rock around our yard every night and just like bounce ideas and sounding board off of, like, you need that support. Um, I know that I think you've talked to Paul Yacobitis before.
Yeah.
We can't all be like Paul, who just decides to do everything himself, and you know, um, I every time I really like Paul, and and Andy works with Paul too, but every time like I think about it, I'm like, well, that's just a completely different, like, I don't have the drive to work 18-hour days and just do it all myself. It's just not. I have a 6-year-old son. I have I'm a bit late. I have to balance my motivation with my laziness, and sometimes I just want to sit and read a book. And so like Paul did it all on his own, I feel like, with his wife's support at home. And good for Paul, but I feel like for most people, Andrew Zilmer, his wife's the attorney, and he's the one that, so like a lot of the other successes, they've either had a spouse or somebody else they're helping.
Yeah. And as you grow even more, it's even more important to, start putting more people in other key roles, right? Like we now have an HR manager, and he's actually taking over a lot more roles. He's like starting to get more in control of, the finances and staff training and that type of thing. And then we have Stephanie, who's our chief revenue officer. So she's handling, she's in charge of all the revenue,
Yeah,
and from wherever sectors those come from. But we have us as a core four like executive body, and none of us really view. I think maybe Ashley has a little bit more of like a rank over them, but honestly, when we have meetings, once a week, and sometimes the meetings get a little crazy, and like in the and it's good because someone will bring up an idea, and then will challenge, they'll be challenging. We'll challenge them. Like, okay, well, why should we be doing this, right? What about this? What about XYZ? Blah, blah, blah. And it's a very open forum.
yeah,
And no one's really afraid to challenge any one person, Ashley included, you know.
that's so
Um,
important.
right. And a VA over in the Philippines is not going to do that.
No, no, I I have two of my best friends are also estate planning attorneys. Ashley, who works with y'all, is up in Pennsylvania, and then my really good friend Sam, who owns Law Mom in Massachusetts, and they've tested the VAs, and I don't know if they still have some right now. And I'm kind of in that really awesome position where they're always like a little step ahead of me, like revenue wise. And I just kind of get to sit back and learn. And I kind of love it. I'm like, y'all are crushing it. I'm so proud of you. And I'm going to sit right here and just like follow in that, what's it called when you get the drag, when you like get behind the other race card, it like almost accelerates you.
Yeah.
And so we're like best friends. We have a chat. We like they're my people when it comes to like running a law firm. And so I get to learn a lot from them. And we all have our differences, and we all do things a little bit differently, of course. And the one thing that I was always big on, I was like, I get it. It would be cheaper for me to hire someone that lives in the Philippines. But number one, I live in Georgia. I don't necessarily as much, even though I am from Georgia. Most people have southern accents. When someone answers the phone, they want someone that sounds like them. It's just a southern thing. Number two, no one really wants to do virtual meetings here. Not even people my own age. I offer it. I'm like, oh, we can do a virtual planning session, whatever. Everyone's like, nope, we're just in-person people. And they just want to come in. And that's fine because honestly, it's more personal and it's easier for us to talk to them and sell them. And so we can be flexible and somewhat hybrid, but like our meetings are typically almost all in person. And I just love that camaraderie. Like we have really big quarterly meetings, which are all day events, and we brainstorm and we all get feedback and we go over the P&L. I'm very open about everything. They can ask me questions. They can challenge me. They can come up with ideas, and we're all just kind of sitting there shooting the shit, like like telling jokes and
So you do that quarterly
do
with your
that
team,
quarterly,
the whole all staff?
everybody. And we all sit around a table and just brainstorm together. And then monthly, the attorneys meet. We go out to lunch together and have a monthly just attorney meeting. Which my friend, who's my events coordinator, she's like, all the JDs getting together. I'm like, well, you're not a JD. You don't want to be one. Um, and so, and then that's where we talk about like our processes and everything like that. And then I meet with my sister and Andy, and then we work with how to manage a small law firm. And so we have a fractional C-suite. We have a CMO, a COO, and a CEO. And so we meet with them almost weekly as well. So yeah, I mean, but our office is kind of like an open door office. So like my team all feels very comfortable, and they feel very comfortable coming and telling me right off the bat if they have something that they think needs to be tweaked or changed. And I love that. Like, and
Yeah.
oftentimes their ideas are fantastic because they're the ones on the ground doing it now, not me anymore. And the way that I did things is probably not how everyone is going to do things. And like, for example, they're like, oh, I think we need to have access to our client portal on our website. And I'm like, oh, never thought about that. And even though that's common for law firms to have, but like it just wasn't an issue earlier on. And so yes, I mean, we're very open communication, and everyone feels probably a little overly comfortable at times.
We have the same. We have the same. Um, I'm really interested in that quarterly meeting. So what's the agenda on it?
So
How
it's
do you have one, or
yeah.
how's it kind of roll?
So I have my agenda with all of my notes. So first, it is still team building as well. So we always start with like questions for humans, and we go around the room and just like, answer the questions for humans and joke about that. And then we always have like some type of like,
What is questions for humans?
it's the
What is that?
card game where it asks questions and everybody has to answer them. So they have
Oh,
some for
really?
like friends, they have coworkers. Honestly, we use the cards for friends because the coworker ones are kind of boring. It's like, oh, what's your past work experience? Yeah, so it's just a good way to kind of like learn random facts about people that you work with. Um, it looks like
Questions for humans. I love that. Okay. So
this is
what's the
what it
next
looks
step?
like. It's right here.
Nice.
So everybody pulls two cards and we pass it around and we just go around and one by one and
So someone gets a card, it has a question on it, and they have to answer that question.
yep. So like
Okay.
on the back it says, "What do you wish you were an expert at?" Or "What's one bizarre job you would love to try for a week?" This is actually the workplace one, but then it asks personal questions as well, and then I have the ones for friends too. So we kind of do both. Um, it's just
I
a
like
really fun way to like learn more about people, team building kind of stuff. And then, so after that, we do a review of the last quarter. Again, I go over the P&L with them. We talk about like big wins, any changes that we've decided to make moving forward. We celebrate all of, the individual staff, and, their successes. We onboarded 6 people in 6 months this year. So we grew a lot. So the quarterly meetings are still growing. And then looking ahead, we kind of give them like our to-do list of what we're planning on implementing over the next quarter. Um, what, if anything's changing. And then obviously, like, I have mine, but then you can see where I've written in stuff that other people have like added or said. So everyone really contributes to that. And then we have a big lunch. We get it catered, big lunch for everybody. And then the one thing that I'm really trying to add in is I'm going to get a masseuse here to give like 15 to 30-minute massages for everybody. Like, so they can step out and get like a massage and make it be for, or I might just get someone to come and detail all the cars. Either way, like something fun and nice and extra. And then after lunch, we go for a walk around our complex. We all go on a walk together and stretch our legs and get outside. And then we do another team building. And then after that, we really do our open floor. What's working, what could be better. Does anybody need any extra like resources, technology, and just open the floor for them to give lots of feedback and stuff. So I mean, it's a really fun day. Like it's super
Yeah.
relaxed, and everybody gets to see where we are and be on the same page and celebrate our successes and with the firm. So
I love that. We do a weekly meeting every Monday where we go over like any issues from the week prior
mhm.
that need handling, right? Was there something that came up that, yeah, we need to change operating basis on or something like that? Um, we then go over like just general business announcements. And then we go over the KPI. So everyone has their own KPI. Everyone shows their own graph. Um, Takes about 15 to 20 minutes. It's not very long, not very team building ish.
Yeah.
There's laughing and stuff about random shit, but um, yeah, I want to implement something like what you're doing. That really sounds great.
It's been a lot of fun. And I do think in the day to day, yes, we all chat. Yes, we all talk, but like we don't really get to like know each other necessarily like a lot more. And this is a good way to do that. Andy cracks inappropriate jokes, it's just, and then
I'm
gets
that
poked and prodded. So,
I'm that
um,
guy. Yeah, I'm that guy.
so it's a lot of, I actually really highly recommend it. I thought about doing it monthly, and I think that's just overkill. I don't think we have that much to talk about because again, we are open and we do communicate weekly and daily. So it's not like this is the only opportunity to bring any ideas forth. It's just a more structured way to do it. So I think it'd be overkill to do it monthly, but I like the idea of looking back at the previous quarter. Also, this is around the time that they're getting their quarterly bonuses because we do quarterly bonuses based on firm performance. And it's not really based on, yes, they have KPIs, but it's not really based on their individual KPIs or anything. It's really just, I've gone back and forth on the bonuses a lot. And at the end of the day, we're a team. We're all doing this together. I want to reward the team together. So bonuses are more based on how long they've been with the firm.
But what
Um,
about when you have that person who just isn't producing?
well, that's a private conversation.
No, I understand. Okay, all right.
Yeah, they have
But
KPIs. They have KPIs.
no,
Um,
but are they still getting? You feel comfortable still giving them that bonus?
I will be honest and tell you that issue has not really arisen yet. All
Okay.
of, like, I have an A team staff right now.
Yeah.
When other law firms talk about like, oh, they need to fire this person or find this person, that's just not my issue right now. My issue is always leads, just making sure that I fill up, this staff. But I literally, I have such a fantastic team that's just, it's not an issue. Everyone's different. They all have their different quirks. I have two signing meeting and trust funding coordinators who are run the signing meetings and then follow up with the clients about trust funding and really, drive them pretty hard on that. And then they're the person that they then reach out to. And one of them is like a railroader. Like she'll just bulldoze you right over. Very just like type A, get it done. And then my other one is very soft spoken. and sweet, and she's going to get it done, but it might take her a little bit longer. But like, they're both amazing, and they have such different personalities, and they're in the same office and they work together so well. And honestly, it works out that they're different. So lots of different approaches and ways to handle things, but I'm really fortunate right now. I had to fire 2 people at the beginning of the year that were not working out, and
Why not? Why weren't they working out?
um, so
Was it
one was working with
was
my.
it was it performance or
It was performance primarily. Give a damn was a strong part,
yeah?
and then the other one was just a hot mess. It was my probate attorney, and she could not get it together. And she was older, and I think she felt like she was very disconnected from the group, which was we were in no way, shape, or form promoting. Like, we don't care. Um, and it was just a hot mess.
She felt that way.
She brought so much drama into the firm. And yes, we're women, but we don't like drama. So we're like, no, like,
Do you guys have written core values?
yes.
Okay, good, good. Yeah, I read Delivering Happiness not too long ago. The guy who started Zappos.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I think Andy read that actually. Yep.
it absolutely amazing book. And so we implemented core values. And one of them is drama free, right? And so we have a paragraph or two for each core value. But our HR guy was like, "Hey, we really need to hire and fire based on the core values." And once we really put that into place, yeah, we hired a few people and we got rid of a few people, and it's made things dramatically better.
Oh, yeah. I totally agree. Um, I also, the biggest thing that I tell people when I hire them now, and it's one of the biggest screen tests that I use, I do not micromanage. If you need someone to stand behind you and tell you exactly what to do, this is not the place for you. I need you to have a little bit of go get it attitude and figure it out yourself. Like,
Yeah.
and so I'm not the direct supervisor of everybody anymore, thank goodness. But I mean, it's literally, I'm very upfront about that when I hire. I'm like, I am not a micromanager. So if you really need someone to tell you exactly what to do 24/7, it's really not going to work. And I have realized that some people do need a little bit more guidance in that front. So for sure, we can adjust, but ultimately that's a big one for me, is that I do need you to have some self-sufficiency.
Yeah. I mean, when someone's first starting and they're green and all that, yeah, you got to train them,
For sure.
right? But yeah, we have in one of our policies in our handbook is really kind of like, what does an executive want, and like what kind of communication do they want? And it really comes down to like, they don't want demands for decisions, right. You don't want someone coming to you and saying, "Hey, I need you to make a decision on this." No, we want our employees to make decisions and then tell us what they did. If they screwed up, okay, fine. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing that they could do that would collapse the business.
Well,
Maybe there's a couple things, but uh,
and I will say, and this is a little bit, I think another part of your core value, because this country is so divided right now, um, you know, we don't like put ourselves out as like a Christian law firm, but we are Christians.
yeah,
And frankly, I honestly, I sometimes flat out tell people what my political beliefs are, because I'm like, you're not going to be comfortable working here if you strongly disagree, because while we don't sit around talking about it, it's going to come out. It comes out in jokes. It comes out in a passing comment. I work with my husband and my sister. Like, of course, like, it's going to be known. And so yes, we're not talking about it, but like, if this is something that is going to make you uncomfortable, then for your sake, I don't want you to work here, because I don't want you to be uncomfortable. I want everyone that works here to be super comfortable. We're very America. We're very, Christian based. from that, you can probably tell who I voted for. But like, so like, I'm very like, I just flat out tell people, like, I'm just like in the interviewing process, I'm like, I want you to be very comfortable. And this is kind of how my organization is. And if that's not a good fit, I totally understand. And I just want you to be happy, one
That's
way or the
really
other.
that's really smart. Good job on implementing that, because that takes a lot of confront to do that. Especially when you see somebody who, it's like on paper and even maybe meeting them, you're like, hey, this person is it. I need them.
I had for when I was hiring for my last role, I had an interviewee that was literally exactly that. Perfect on paper, great at interviewing. But when I mentioned that, you could tell.
You
You
could
could
see
tell
the
she was not on the same page. And I was sitting there and I was like, that really sucks. And like, but when it went into the evaluation and I had like 8 interview people that I was interviewing, and I mean, it went into it because I don't think ultimately she would have been comfortable. I mean, literally, some people walk around with mugs. Like it's just I really want people to be so comfortable here and enjoy working here. And that's the environment that I'm trying to build. And unfortunately, in this day and age, in this world, politics are extremely divisive. Um, and I don't like it. I wish it wasn't as divisive. It didn't used to be, but it is now. So
yeah.
I
Hopefully,
so that's one of the ways that I've really tried to preserve my our like camaraderie in our environment at the firm. So
that'll do it. I mean, that's super smart of you to implement it. I applaud you for it, because, like I said, it takes a lot to confront and decide you're going to bring that up on the front end.
well, I know it's scary because technically, like, I also feel like someone could like sue me for discrimination, but like, I never make it that obvious that I'm doing it. I'm just
Look,
I'm discreetly
if
doing
you
it.
if you bring up your own views and the person reacts like, you know, you don't have to, it's like, okay, you then ask the next interview question and you just know, right? It's not like, oh, I fired you because you're a Democrat, or I didn't hire you because you're a Democrat.
Right,
um,
for sure. And I have lots of friends that are, but it's just
same. I
again,
have friends that are too.
it's so hard. It's hard in this environment that we're living in. It's so segregated, and I hate that. But I
We
again, my main goal is that everyone that works here is truly happy and loves working here, and I just don't think they would.
Right, right. Yeah, I think we don't get into politics at all here. There's definitely comments.
Well, like
I
half
think
the inappropriate jokes that my husband cracks are about that. So it's like,
I
I
think
mean,
I think
again, we don't sit around talking about it or debating it. It just occasionally it just comes up in that way, and you're like,
yeah.
oh God, I'm glad everyone's fine here.
I think we have one employee who's on the left here. I think everyone else is not. I'm almost certain. Yeah.
The funniest though is, of course, we have clients across the board, and
Yep.
literally could not care less. We don't talk about politics with clients at all. But the best is when I have the clients that walk in. I have one client who walked in with this metal briefcase, Obama, Bernie, like stickers all over it, very like in your face about it. And you're just like, smile and nod. Like, she also told me that I did not have enough artwork in my office, that I needed to buy some sculptures from her. And when I looked at the sculptures on her website, they were literally like doll heads. They were like dark. It was like dark sculptures. I'm like, you truly think that I should have dark sculptures at a law firm that's literally talking to people about dying? Like, that just does not sound like a very good decor option.
You might as well put the Grim Reaper in the corner of the
Right?
lobby.
I was like, really?
That's funny. Yeah, Ashley was telling me right during the election, this older woman came in and she was like, "You're not voting for Trump, right?" And she and she just like went on this long tirade, and Ashley never actually answered the question because this
No,
woman
you
just
don't
went.
answer the
She's
question.
Yeah, she just went on this long tirade, and she ended up hiring us.
Smile and nod. Well, I mean, during the election, the craziest was after the election, we had lots of clients call in and have to completely redo their plans because they'd had a huge falling out with their family member that was named for everything. And the family member disowned them for voting for Trump or voting for Kamala or whatever. And so we had a lot of that. But then we also had a client, super Republican, opposite direction. He came in with propaganda. He brought in flyers and all of this stuff. He called our office and he's like, "I'm only going to work with y'all if y'all are Trump supporters." Like, I mean, so we get the crazies from every end of the spectrum. And so like obviously like never talk about politics with our clients. Occasionally, like if I agree with them, I'll be like, "Yeah, I totally agree with you." But otherwise, I'll just smile and nod and just. But work culture really is one of the most important things, especially for a small knit team. So
Yeah.
it's just something I decided. And I mean, honestly, I've always been pretty outspoken, and I went to a public school in Athens, Clark County, where I was really the minority. So
You don't seem like the one to hold things back.
what? What are you talking about, Joe? I am a closed book.
I think that's why I like you so much. Um, so how did your husband end up joining, and when did that happen?
When my fractional CEO told me that I wasn't getting anything done. I tell everybody, I'm like, I love how to manage a small law firm, but it is very overwhelming. They, give you a really long list of things to do. And, it's how to run a business, not just be a lawyer. It's how to make your law firm a business, which is what you've talked a lot about. Um, and when I realized that I could not do what he was asking me to do, and my husband was miserable. He was traveling more. His company got bought out. Just grinding for someone else to make money. And I'm like, why don't you come grind for us to make money? I was like, I promise you can play more golf. And I think he would tell you that I have not lived up to that promise necessarily, but we're moving in that direction now. But he is able to be much more present with our son. So he is able to do a lot of like the what he calls the Max chauffeuring. He chauffeurs Max around because his schedule is more flexible than mine. And so that's been great because he is just a big giant child. So yes, he wants to spend as much time as possible with our child. So I mean, really, it was that. It was. I think we kept kicking it around at the beginning of last year. We're like, oh, at the end of this year, or oh, like, and then an opportunity fell in his lap that would have been a huge promotion. And he's aerospace engineering, and it would have been like really firmly back in the aerospace industry, which is what he loves. And they didn't promote him. And I think that was finally the kick that he needed. I think that was literally just God being like, no, like you need to leave now. Like this is
Yeah.
enough of corporate America. Um, it pissed him off enough that he was like, I'm done. I'm done. There was literally no one more suited for this role than him. And so it was just insane. But corporate America doesn't care. They're just trying to line their their pockets and their bottom line, and just be position themselves for the next big acquisition and sale. And they do that by not living up on their bonus promises, and so that's what was really the impetus. And so it was supposed to be the end of last year, and then it got moved up, and then we were like, we're done. So after Q2, he was like, he gave in his notice and
So Q2 of this year
of last
is
year.
when he's okay. So 2024 is when he started with you.
Yeah. And I was still full legal production. So he was meeting with the COO. He was meeting with the CMO. We were meeting with the CEO together, but he was actually running a lot of the business, and catching us back up to where I had fallen off from being so tied down by legal production. And then at the beginning of this year, I hired my EP attorney, and she's now the managing EP attorney. She's our managing attorney now. So honestly, more and more, like my sister's in charge of legal production. She's in charge of the lawyers, and I'm more and more just like, stop asking me questions. Like,
When you say your sister's in charge of legal production, what is that? What's that entail?
so once the attorney meets with them for the planning session and they become clients and we take their first half of the payment and we send over that design sheet to my sister, it's all in her court. So she's the one that oversees the rest of the process. She oversees the drafting. She oversees our signing meeting and trust funding coordinators to make sure that they're following up with the clients, getting the information we need. She's the one that's making sure we're staying on track for the signing meetings. So the first, I always say, like, there's the first half is our client services director and the attorneys. The second half is my sister and the signing meeting coordinators. So it's kind of just the process is kind of split into two, with the attorneys still being involved, but not nearly as involved after the design meeting.
Right. Are the attorneys doing the initial consultation?
So we do it a little bit differently than some law firms. So the initial consultation is literally just like a 15 to 30-minute consultation, telling them about like our process, not anything to do with legal. So not will versus living trust or anything like that. So that is done by my client services director, Sarah, who was my first full-time hire after my sister. And so she's been with us. She's that employee that you're like, what can I do for you? What do I need to give you so that you never leave me? Because you can't leave. And so she does the consult. That was one of the first legal things that I got off my shoulders because, as Ashley will probably attest to, we give away too much free legal advice. And that consult doesn't need to be legal advice. It needs to be, tell me more about your family. Here's our process. Let's schedule the planning session. So now, in order to get in front of an attorney for the planning session, it's a $250 deposit, non-refundable. If they move forward, it gets, it gets put to their plan, so it's not additional. But if they don't move forward, it's $250 for an hour and a half with an attorney. So the planning session that we call our life and legacy planning session, that is with the attorney. So that's an hour and a half meeting. They've already filled out their homework. We already have like a lot of information on them. And the attorney sits down. We get to know them, walk them through that, walk them through the differences. I'm a content creator. I love Canva. It's like my creative outlet. I told you I'm not a typical attorney. And so like we have all these really, like we have like a binder that we put in front of them that has like a comparison chart between wills and trusts, upfront cost, lifetime cost, what they accomplish, and then like our process, our fees, all of like we have the foundational fees and then we have like the additional fees for businesses or extra trust, and it's all right there in front of them. And we walk them through that, and then we walk them through their estate. So there's like a chart that has like the equity of their estate, the probate value of their estate. And just really, I tell everyone our role is to educate you on the options, listen to your goals, and based on what you tell us, give you feedback and guide you towards what we think might be the best fit, but ultimately you are going to decide what plan you want to move forward with.
Okay, so that's during the meeting with the attorney, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that really kind of turns into the sales closing process.
It is the sales closing. So all of my attorneys they close the client, but it's a 99% closure because they've already paid $250 to get in front of us. They already know our prices. None of this is a shock to them. So by the time they're in front of us, it's not like 99% of people are ready to move forward. Like when we ask them, oh, so like, would you like to move forward? They're like, well, yeah, why else would I be here? So it's not, they really have already been sold, but
Yeah.
yes, that is when we close the deal.
How about for probate?
So for probate, it's a $500 consult because some people, that's all they need. And that might be all they need. They might find out that they really don't need to probate anything and they just want advice. So it's a $500 consult for an hour and a half meeting with our probate attorney. And that's non-refundable once that's booked. But then if they do need probate and they decide to move forward, that also gets, that goes towards their overall cost. And then we're flat fee, but we're still working on that. It's harder to be flat fee for probate, as you know, because you were just talking about feel free to send that my way because we always need help. But probate in Georgia is very different than probate in Florida. Court fees are literally like $250 to file probate in Georgia. So it's very cheap. The hard part is that depending on your county, they're still like most counties it's still in-person filing.
Oh,
Yes, I know Florida switched, I think during COVID, to pretty much across the board online filing, but still
yep.
in person for most counties in Georgia. And depending on the county, it's going to be very different process. So like Clark County, 12 plus months. The county right next to it, Oconee, they'll give you your petition within 2 weeks. Like, I mean, it's insane the difference between the two courts.
Yeah, we run into that too with the counties, not that dramatically, but like Pasco County, which is the next county over, is just the worst to deal with. But our county, Pinellas, is like, God, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's so smooth and easy, and
Same. Our office is in Oconee, so super easy. And then Clark right next door is a nightmare. We have to
that's a
take the
shame.
clerks off. We have to take the clerks cookies just to get them to do their job.
That's a shame though. You got to do it in-person filings because that really cuts you out.
It does. So it limits us. So we really only accept, and again, there are a couple that will file electronically, but for the most part, we really only accept probates within like an hour to an hour and a half radius of us. And we don't touch the Atlanta courts. If Clark County's bad, the Atlanta's awful. It's 2+ years. So we won't touch Atlanta. I have a good friend that I referred all of my probate to in Atlanta. I'm like, nope, here you go.
We stopped doing any work in Miami-Dade, Palm Beach County. We said nothing there anymore.
Yeah,
It was just too bad.
I
Like
believe it.
terrible. Yeah. Um, well, like I said, I'm very impressed. I'm
Well,
very
thanks.
impressed yeah, I'm excited for your growth. Kind of the sky's the limit for you, right?
I guess I think my laziness is what pulls me back. Not laziness, just hesitancy. Um I was challenged at a local workshop, and he was like, "Why aren't you going to double again next year?" And I'm like, "Because I don't want to double again next year." I was like, "That sounds like a lot of fucking work, Oscar." Um, but because we doubled, I mean, we went after a really bad year with advertising last year because the mailers stopped getting delivered. We closed off the year at 900,000, and this year we're at run rate it's 1.8. So we doubled, and so he's like, "We'll double again, 3.6," and I'm like, "No." It's like I want to grow,
Yeah, but
but
when you start putting people in, you start delegating more of the
yeah.
roles. It gets
But the
easier.
interviews still fall to me.
Oh yeah, well you got to get an HR person. I'll tell you what, our HR guy, we hired him in April, and he's absolutely amazing. Absolutely does all the interviews. Um, has really really good insight into the business practices, stuff that we weren't thinking with before. He's more qualified than just an HR person, but just the interviews itself, I was doing all of them,
Yeah,
right? Reading all the
it's
resumes.
a lot.
Oh my God, scheduling the interviews. And
Well,
it's
and
just like,
especially when it's so appealing to moms. Like I mean, we get like 50 applicants for every job. And also like I'm a softie. Like I do not like rejecting people. Like it is
yeah,
really hard for me. And so that's yeah, so this last job, I did the initial interviews, like phone interviews, but then the in person I gave to my husband. I was like, I think number one, it needs to be someone else talking to him. I've already made my opinions. I've ranked them. I put rankings on the back. I was like, now it needs to be someone else. So it was him and then our client services director, Sarah, because it was going to be under her. She was going to be the direct supervisor. So they did the actual in-person meetings, and that was, I think it was a better system. But yeah, I don't think we're quite big enough for HR yet, but
Yeah,
sounds nice.
you'll get there.
There
Yeah,
more reason to grow, right? To double again,
that's
right?
right. That's right. You got to grow to get that shit off your lines.
Right.
Um, but yeah, with the culture that you have, I don't know what you pay people. We pay our staff really well. We pay well above market value for them.
For
We
sure.
treat them, yeah, we treat them fantastically, and we just make it so that leaving would be idiotic.
Yeah.
For it would be dumb for them to leave. So if you're doing those things, like you're gonna have people stick around,
Yeah.
right? They're gonna stay. Yeah. But
Yeah.
what do you need to do to get to double?
Get another office building because heaven forbid you buy a 5,000 square foot office building and it's too small.
Are you
Um,
is that what you have right now?
yeah.
And that's too small for you?
Well, I rent out two offices upstairs to so
Kick them
my
out.
office is my tailgate. Um, we're really big about college football, okay?
I could tell. I could tell.
So, three offices are rented by my good friend Jason, who's a financial advisor, and he owns Ability Wealth Group. He specializes in helping families with special needs loved ones. His son is in a wheelchair. He's very passionate about it, and he does something that no other financial advisor does. And he will work with other financial advisors and just focus on the special needs and mapping out their needs and cost over time. So, he's stuck with me. We're stuck together like glue. He knows more about special needs planning than any attorney I've ever met in my life. And so he's amazing. And then upstairs, we rent out two offices to my sister's husband, John, and then his business partner. They do commercial insurance for businesses. And they're also both part of our tailgate. So it's me, Stephanie, Andy, John, Wayne, Jason. Um, so it's a really fun, really, really fun office. Um, but other than that, yes, because everybody is pretty much in person. Arch is now taking up 12 office spaces. And then we have a big conference room. So we have a huge conference room, but we do have a little more room to build out. So we're going to build out two additional offices. And then we're opening the office in Lake Oconee. So I'm hoping, which is about 50 minutes from us. So I'm hoping that maybe like one hire that I make could actually be out of that office. That would be interesting dynamics. It would probably be a part-time, not a full-time, but so we'll see. But we're going to need another attorney. I mean, honestly, we have two other estate planning attorneys other than me and one probate. We're going to need to hire someone for probate, legal assistant. We're going to need to hire another attorney for EP probably if we want to really grow that much bigger. And I want to stay fully out of legal production. So right now, I still take all the complicated clients, which are the worst. So you're like, dang it, I'm just stuck with the bad ones. But I do like the analytical game. I like the puzzle of it. But I'm training my managing attorney, and so she'll take over the tough cases. She's a better attorney than me. She's super detail oriented, super friendly, easy to talk to. I met her at a networking event, and literally the first time I met her, I was like, "Well, when you want to stop working for all those old stodgy men, let me know." And hired her a year later. So
So the office, the new office, you said it's like 50 minutes away.
yeah.
What will you be going there a lot?
So to start out, we're just we're gonna block all meetings for just Thursdays. And so me and my other attorney, Elena, are gonna take turns.
Okay.
So twice a week, twice a month, I'll go down there. And twice a month she'll go down there. So not anything too crazy, but yeah, I mean, eventually I think we'll have to hire one more attorney to get us in a really comfortable position. And someone that I can just tell right off the bat, and you'll be spending part of your time down there. It's a really nice drive. It's not like an Atlanta commute or anything. So it's very peaceful drive. But and they could be down there. I mean, honestly, I kind of just feel like I want to hire someone that's like an attorney that's moved down there from Atlanta, but that's kind of really bored and wants to keep like, working as an attorney, maybe like part time. Like, I feel like that would be the perfect fit for that office. Maybe like a woman like in her 50s who doesn't want to sit at home with her husband all day long. Well, or
Yeah.
while the husband plays golf, she needs something to do.
Um,
Manifesting it.
there you go. We do that every day. Literally, we write down. Ashley and I write down our goals. We write them as if they've already happened.
Yep.
Some of them are freaking big too. But will you initially start out that office doing just like initial consults with new clients?
No, so we'll do planning sessions and signing meetings down there. Even though
Okay.
it's only 15 minutes away, what we realize is that people, if especially retirees, would prefer not to drive to Athens, while much preferable than driving to Atlanta. And so it's definitely it's to really get a foot down at the lake. We needed to have an office space available. So we'll plan. What we'll do is we'll have everything still like this will still be the factory. So like everything will be printed and prepared here and everything like that. And then yeah. So
Yeah, I've
I
looked
don't
in.
think it's maintainable for long term, but I think it's doable to get our foot in the door and get started.
Right. Yeah, I've looked into like acquiring firms that are, maybe an hour or two away. And then it's just scared me about, the culture and taking over another practice, how much we would need to be there, all of that. It's just, yeah.
I have
So
a
I've never
really close colleague and mentor who's always said his retirement plan is for me to acquire his like our firms would just merge, and he's about an hour away north of us. And I love that idea originally, but then he's grown a lot, and he has other attorneys and other staff, and I'm like, but they wouldn't they probably wouldn't fit our culture. And so like I'd rather like honestly like I'd rather just go open an office somewhere and have it be my culture than and especially with estate planning, because yes, some estate planning attorneys have memberships, but most of it's not reoccurring revenue. Like most of it's still you have to grind and get new clients. So I'm like, I don't think that's worth it anymore. Not for estate planning. I don't know. I can't find the value in acquiring another firm for estate
I
planning.
mean, yeah, I can't either. I can't either. I met with an attorney on Friday who's starting up a private equity firm to acquire law firms. He's an attorney himself. And he was, trying to get me interested in doing it. And I just can't get on board with it right now.
No. I mean, I think you're going to see that a lot as non-lawyers can own law firms, but no, it's just I think other areas of law, it makes more sense. I think with estate
That's what I'm
planning, when we really rely off of basically just new clients for the most part, it just to me it's hard to make it make sense. But like you said, I've worked so hard on my culture. Why would I then go acquire another law firm and then end up having to fire everybody? Like that doesn't sound like fun. And he has
right.
another attorney. Like let her take it over. Like
Yeah, I think the key is getting into other practice areas.
and I
Because
like
right now
yeah, and I like niching. Like I'm not planning on really breaking out of this.
mhm. We're looking for a probate litigation attorney right now because we get so
You gonna do the
your big
contested?
your big eyes, yeah. um,
That's a
but we
whole nother ball game.
whole nother ball game. Totally, totally, right? But we get so many probate leads,
I know.
and so many of them are we refer out because
You
any
know,
slightest bit of contention, we're like, nah, we're out.
I know.
I can't. I have no idea how much revenue we could have collected this year, but
I guess the thing is it worth it? You have to find the person that actually enjoys litigation, and then you have to make the prices work for it because there's such a pain in the rear end, and they can drag out for so long.
yeah,
Um, I would have trouble finding making it worth it.
yeah, yeah. We were toying around with pricing the other
That has to
day.
be hourly.
I don't know. We were toying around with a minimum retainer of like either 10 or 15,000, right? And then maybe like a 40% contingency,
Yeah.
depending on the value of it.
But what if
But
it's like my dad's and it goes on 4 years?
I know, I know. But then you can have the ones that settle maybe after a couple months.
Right? So you're playing the balancing act. And that's what I would tell my sister. I'm like, for every really difficult client we have 3 easy clients, but still I get it. That's a tough nut. I mean, don't think I haven't thought about it, but I'm not gonna. I don't have any plans to step into the litigation game. I mean, I certainly wouldn't be doing it. I'd be an
What
awful
if you ha-
litigator. Be like, y'all
what
are
if you
all
found
idiots. Like, why are we sitting here talking about this? But
what if you ran into an attorney who's like a skilled probate litigator? Would you jump on it?
I don't know. They'd have to make it make sense, I guess. I look. I always. I never. I wasn't planning on opening an office in Lake Oconee this year, and it fell in my lap, and I did it. Wasn't planning on buying a condo in Amelia this year, fell in my lap, and I did it. So yes, of course, we adapt and adjust and whatever, but it's definitely not in my forecasted plans. That's a tough one.
Yeah, it was never in our forecasted plans until about 6 months ago.
I'd rather a really good tax attorney fall in my lap and want to do high net worth planning. That's what I would really like. I'd like a really awesome, like, that'd be great.
Do you get a lot of high net worth, like taxable estates?
Um, we've had a few. And what we had one client who had a $90 million paving company. A lot of it's blue collar, just
Yeah.
their business took off. Um, so we have had a few. And what I've done is that we'll do the foundational planning, and then I quarterback it and co-counsel with one of my attorneys that I refer to for high net worth. One's in Tennessee, one's in Florida. They're both amazing. Um, I'm not, the alphabet of acronyms for all of those trusts, the CRUTs, the CRATs, um, it's just, it's not something that, and Georgia is also very limited in our laws. We don't have a lot of really awesome trust laws. We don't have slats and daps and all that stuff. So my attorney in Tennessee does. So they have more favorable trust law than us. And you can qualify for their law by having any Tennessee asset. So you open up a
That's nice.
$500 bank account and you can qualify for Tennessee law. So we do the foundational planning here, and then we co-counsel with either Jay at Legacy Law in Tennessee or with AJ Yolofsky, who is in Hollywood, Florida, who specializes in working with business owners and high net worth planning for business owners, and then doing business succession planning and exit strategy and buy sell agreements and all of that fun stuff.
Yeah, yeah. We have an attorney we work with down in South Florida, Randy Nakir,
Oh yeah, yeah,
for
yeah,
our
yeah. I know who that is. Yeah.
yeah for our high net worth.
He's in How to Manage a Small Law Firm. That's how I recognize the name.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's great. He's great. But I've thought about bringing on a tax attorney, and I just don't know if I would have enough business for them right now.
Well, we're looking to build Arch Strategies, which is the business like succession coaching second company. And the reason we're isolating it from Arch Strategy Legacy is for potential sell down the road, because you
Yeah,
can sell a non-law firm a lot easier than you can sell a law firm.
yeah,
And so that's my husband's project. And so that is why I would really love to have a tax attorney on board. Would be more for like that piece, and then yes, high net worth. Um, but and so basically the way it would work is that Arch Strategies would retain Arch Legacy for all legal work. So the attorney would work for Arch Legacy, but technically be working primarily with Arch Strategies.
that makes sense.
And also so that my husband can take distributions as an S corp and count as an owner, which he cannot do at my firm, which you cannot do. Technically, my husband is unemployed right now because technically it just all comes through my distribution. So
He's not a W-2 on your law firm?
no, we decided not to. We decided it didn't really make any sense right now, especially since he is opening art strategies. So he's a
Yeah,
contractor um, for the firm, and then distribution just stems through me. But what's mine is his, and vice versa. So
right,
we
right.
I always told him, I was like, sweetie, if we ever fall out of love, we're just gonna have to be roommates because we can't get a divorce. And
Yeah,
he's put up with me for 13 years, so I think we're stuck together at this point. We have a really good partnership. Ironically, I had him take the Colbier index as well, and we're pretty much exact opposites. And I'm like, well, this is why it works. You're the
that's
fact
right.
finder. You're the overthinker. I call him, he over Andylizes everything. So he's the over Andylizer, and I'm just the let's go do it. So we work well together.
Yeah, Ashley and I, yeah, we have an amazing relationship, business and just marriage
It's
wise,
fun.
everything.
It's fun getting to work when you're with your spouse when you have such a good marriage. I love working with Andy. It's so much fun.
We,
I
I
do want
think
to
the
kill him
work,
occasionally, but
well, of course, but you have the same purpose, and I think that's a lot of reason why a lot of marriages fail is because the husband and wife don't have the same purposes. Um, Same purposes, same goals. And when you're really aligned on those things, you create together.
yeah,
It's
it
like you're creating this. It's almost like creating a piece of art in a sense, right? The business, and it's you're striving towards these goals or whatever, and it's a team,
yeah.
right? And it's a game. Yeah, you're essentially playing a game, and if you don't, you know, I got an alarm going off. But
Yeah,
yeah, if you're not aligned, right, or you don't have like a game to play together, oftentimes you start playing the game against each other. And you start fighting and all that shit. So yeah, it's been ever since we started working together, even before we had a good relationship before that, but it's just gotten better and better throughout time. It's really amazing.
I've tried to fire him like 5 times, and he just keeps coming back. But no, I love, like, he's my best friend. Like when he's gone, I'm like, I know it's a cliche, but I'm like, who am I supposed to talk to? Like, I see you 24/7. Like, that's weird. Like, where are you? And I have girlfriends too, I promise. But yeah, I love it. I love working with him, and he can put up with my ass, so I can put up with his. Now, our child is a different story. I might murder him occasionally because
I
neither me nor my husband are anything but strong-willed, and we're both type A. And so I don't think we could have anticipated my son being anything different, and he's not. And he is a stubborn smartass. And I'm like, you are 6. I'm going to kill you. Like, it just thank God he's really cute because otherwise I don't know what would
dude, my
happen.
my my daughter is just like me. She is me. And so, you know, I think she's got the brains of Ashley more on her.
Yeah,
She doesn't like
he's
the
being
stuff.
really stupid, let me tell you.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, she's just like me. Same sense of humor, same critical thoughts. And so we gang up on Ashley's got it rough sometimes because
How old's
we
your
gang up.
daughter?
14.
Yeah. Ooh,
Yeah.
and she's a teen girl. Fun.
She's teen, she's pretty. Yeah, it's getting to be a problem. She's talking to boys.
Oh no. Yeah,
Yeah.
we just we have the one, and um yeah, unfortunately I swore he's a junior, and I was like, he's gonna be just like you. And unfortunately, I think he's more like me. He looks just like me, but he has a really bad temper. And I'm like,
Oh,
oh gosh darn it, like that's totally me. And so like I'm teaching him that he just needs to walk away and cool off. And so he gets mad at me when I don't walk away and cool off if I'm like fighting with Andy. He goes, "Mommy, why don't you just walk away?" And I'm like, "I tried." But he definitely has my husband's engineering mind. Like he wants to figure out how everything works. The hardest with him is that he will not simply obey. He does not go with the flow. He needs everything explained to him so that he can understand it and decide whether or not he then wants to. And I'm like, well, you're 6, so sometimes you just need to do what I tell you to do. But the last airport trip was a lot, and I was just like, he's like, well, why are they making us do this? And I'm like, I don't know why. It's the airport. Like, I don't know. Well, I don't know why they make you pour out your water bottle. Just do it. And so we were like, you know what? Maybe he's not quite ready for lots of airplane trips quite yet. But yeah,
Uh,
it's. But the best is we do family walks after every dinner. We go on walks, and he'll be like, "Can y'all stop talking about your business?" But I mean, honestly, for us, it's fun. Like we enjoy strategizing and talking about business. And so I hope he gets that. And he's very entrepreneurial. He sells trees. He has more money than most 6-year-olds could ever even think about having because he sells maple trees, Max's maples. But uh,
that's
but,
cool.
but yeah. But he's like, stop talking about business, and I'm like, that's all we talk about. I'm sorry, I don't know what else to talk about. You're doing really bad
I
at
know.
school. Do you want me to talk about that instead?
Yeah, Fiona used to say that to us a lot. Like, I don't want to go out to dinner. All you guys talk about is business. It's like, all right. And so we had to consciously stop. And then actually over the weekend, we were having lunch, and we got into business, and she started like asking me questions. There was 6 of us, and she started asking me questions on the side, like about it. And that was kind of the first time. Yeah, she's a salesperson
Yeah,
at heart. Like she gets what she wants.
she's you.
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
hey,
Joe. Well, thank you so much for having me. I gotta go get my car and then go get my car's in the shop, so I gotta go grab that and then grab my son.
well, it was great talking to you. I knew it would be. Yeah, keep it up. No doubt you're gonna grow. You'll hit 10 million before you even know it.
Oh God, don't say that. It stresses me out. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm super excited. I talked to your team yesterday, so super excited to get moving with that, and just excited
Good.
to maybe take some of the stress off the events and
That's right.
get some leads some
Yeah,
other ways and oil the machine up so that I can step further out of it. So
that's what we're here for. Anything you need, don't ever hesitate to reach out. Okay.
thanks, Joe. I appreciate
All
it.
right.
Let me know if you
Uh,
ever want to come to a real football game up here at Athens. We have good ones.
That sounds like a good time. I might hit you up.
You should. Uh,
All right.
bye. Have a good one.
Yeah. You too.